Hello, welcome to this video on the implications for lawyers now that the Article 50 notice has been served by the UK government. My name is Jim Leason. I'm VP of Market Development and Strategy for the Thomson Reuters Legal UK and Ireland business. Now that Article 50 has been triggered, we've kicked off a process for leaving the European Union, and we have 2 years to negotiate both the arrangements for the UK pulling itself out of the European Union, but also 2 years to negotiate the trading relationship that the UK wants to have with the European Union beyond the date at which we leave. The other thing that changes is we have to start thinking about the trading relationships that the UK wants to have with other countries outside of the European Union. So unfortunately, we will live for some time with the uncertainty as to what the position of UK law will be on the day of Brexit, and also what the final deal will be with the European Union. And there are several reasons for that. If we start at what UK law will be on the day of Brexit, the government has got to go through a process of understanding the body of European law that applies to the UK. And that's complicated not just because of the European legislative statutes, but also because European law includes both case law, but also regulatory decisions made by agencies. So the first thing that they've got to do is understand what is the legislation. They've then got to bring that European legislation into the UK statute book. That's a very complicated process dealing with thousands of legislative European instruments. Secondly, as we're in that negotiation up until the Brexit date, if we're wanting a free trade relationship in some areas of business, we may have to accept that some of those European laws will have to continue. So there will be a bit of toing and froing in the run-up to that date as to what the UK law will look like. It's going to be a very interesting period over the next 2 years. If we take the government lawyer space, this is a process that the UK hasn't seen before, with the scale of legislation that's got to be brought onto the UK statute book, at the same time as making decisions on whether that legislation ought to change at that same time. For in-house lawyers, I suspect it may be a relatively frustrating time for them, as they have to manage the expectations of their clients internally within the business in making some complex risk-based decisions about a scenario at a point in time that they will not be able to give the certainty to their clients about. And so there may be decisions that are made which ultimately we will find out perhaps didn't need to be made because a negotiated position was agreed. And so businesses will need to make decisions on whether they react before the Brexit date and make changes to the way that they operate as a business, which may include setting up operations in the European Union to give them the certainty that they will be able to continue to operate and trade within the European Union. But it may also mean that some businesses decide to wait it out until the certainty is provided. For the private practice lawyers, I suspect it's going to be boon time as their corporate clients turn to them to help them understand what they should be doing. The European Union will continue to legislate and pass laws between now and the date of Brexit and beyond. The extent to which we need to worry about European legislation that's passed between now and Brexit, but which comes into force after the date of Brexit, will really depend on the extent to which the UK accepts that it has to comply with European legislation as a concession for maintaining free movement of trading with the European Union. And perhaps that may apply in particular sectors and not broadly across the board. What businesses cannot do is take the eye off the ball in terms of compliance with legislation that has already been passed and which comes into force between now and the date of Brexit, because that legislation will be part of UK law on the day of Brexit.